Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Here on Show, Style, and Spirit, I am Ebony, of course, and I want to give my commentary on Carlos King's most recent Messy Monday show, particularly him talking about Garcel and Bose and pitting women against each other, as well as on reality TV, showing the struggles in business, the less glamorous side of business, the irony. Now, before we get into these topics, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel, and know that everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed. So it is Monday night, March 31st, and Carlos King hosted his Messy Monday show like he always does with podcaster Dustin Ross and actress and host Claudia Jordan. I feel like this panel is really, really good. I believe it feels like a safe space for Carlos because Dustin and Claudia are not his on air talent for any of his reality TV shows. So he does not have to worry about them pulling a fast one on him that could be embarrassing and make it to all the blogs. So I think that he feels very comfortable and they seem to gel pretty good. Now, they were talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And as you all know, Garcelle Bouveau has decided to leave the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after 5 seasons. Garcelle is definitely a fan fave. And when Bose and Erica Jane were on Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen asked them for their reaction to Garcelle quitting the show. And they sat there, right? They just sat there in silence. And, pretty much you can kind of take that as, even if they were joking, it came off almost like they didn't care that she was leaving or they were happy that she was leaving. And some people were angry at Bose because they felt like she didn't really show that she wanted her to stay, or they didn't become like this duo as two Black women. And then Bose released a statement on her social media saying, "I'll miss you, Garcelle. I kind of don't like the way that you left, but I do respect it." She gave her like a very courteous, like, a common courtesy with her goodbye. And so Carlos King wants to talk about how the viewers of the show and Garcelle's fans, they kind of set the stage for possibly putting Garcelle and Bose against each other. So I want to go ahead and play this soundbite, and then I will come back with my commentary.
So first, we have a couple of topics before that. Okay, I want to get to Garcelle and Bose from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay. So, long story short, Garcelle revealed that she quit the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was a shock to everybody. Bose and Erica Jane were on Watch What Happens Live later that day. Bose did not say anything out of term. But again, what is happening now is there's fans online who are trying to pit Garcelle and Bose against each other, which I do not like. Bose has never, I watched the show, has never said anything out of line in regards to Garcelle, and vice versa, right? I like for all of us to be fair. I don't know where this energy is coming from. One thing about the fandom of reality stars, and I've said this before, it's okay to stand for your favorite reality star. I love it, I love it, I love it. But don't make shit up just to hype up the person who you find so beloved. Okay? And don't attack. The way Bose is being attacked is so disgusting. And I don't like it. I'm not here for it. But Dustin and Claudia, what are your thoughts, number one, on Garcelle leaving? And excuse me. And now we're seeing that they're trying to pit these two Black women against each other.
Okay, so I wanted to address that because I think that perhaps, I don't know if he has some PTSD from Love and Marriage Huntsville. I know certainly, though, Carlos, if anything, the viewers, we should have the PTSD from watching that horrific reunion for season 7/8/9. That's season 7 for me. But he was talking almost, there seemed to be like some stank on it. He put some stank on it, almost like he was speaking subliminally regarding the millimeters and Melody Cherie's fan base, support base. And I feel like definitely this is not a situation that anyone could say that the millimeters do, because with Garcelle and Bose, neither one of them experienced bullying from the other person. You know, Garcelle did not experience any bullying on the show, certainly not from Bose. This is Bose's first season on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I feel like Bose is having a very positive season. Nobody is bullying her. So that is a totally different dynamic than what we've seen on Love and Marriage Huntsville. As far as the fans pitting Garcelle and Bouveau against each other, Garcelle and Bouveau, Garcelle and Bose against each other, I do have to admit, and I like Garcelle, but remember just a couple weeks ago, she made the post, "Not all skin folk is kinfolk." So Garcelle threw the first subliminal, and people were saying, "Oh no, it's Bose. Oh no, it's Anne Marie." Anne Marie was on the previous season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's a nurse. She's also married to an athlete, and he is facing lawsuits for alleged SA going back to the 90s when he was a college student. And these women are alleging huge cover-ups from the universities. But in the event, I'm bringing that up to say Garcelle actually kind of hyped everyone up to pit her and Bose against each other because she made that post. And she still has not explicitly said who she was referring to when she said all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Now, Anne Marie allegedly said that Garcelle should be deported. You know, Garcelle is from Haiti. And I actually feel like she was talking about Bose based off of her last minutes on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion before she stormed off. So we have to see, you know, what was said that triggered Garcelle. In my opinion, she doesn't seem to be very confrontational when she's on the receiving end. She can definitely give it to people like Dorit and Erica, but it sounds like perhaps people were giving her the business at the reunion, and that was a little difficult for her to take. And so she stormed off and she quit. Now, Garcelle, if you watch Lifetime television for women, honey, then you know you've seen her in some projects on Lifetime for sure. So she definitely is booked and busy, but I just wanted to give some context because Carlos is suggesting that it was just on the fans, just on the fans, and I do have to disagree with that. But what did you think about Carlos talking about the fandom and wanting to pit people against each other? He said, because you have your favorite, your beloved. Now, in terms of the women on Love and Marriage Huntsville, I don't think us millimeters or viewers of the show, none of us would have ever had to try and pit the women against each other because they did a good enough job of that themselves. We heard the gross things that Kimmy was saying at the reunion about Melody's physicality, her body, and the gross things that Destiny was saying about a moment in time where she wasn't even there. So she got the secondhand knowledge from Tisha. So I don't think that that has anything to do with the fans. Definitely no one has ever pitted women against each other on his shows. And that is my opinion. So now I want to fast forward a little bit where they are talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, particularly a scene between Kenya and Kelly. Kelly is one of the newbies, where Kenya opens up about her struggles with her business, her hair spa. And some people are actually saying that Kenya doesn't even have the spa anymore. And I'm wondering if Kenya, unfortunately, is going through just like a storm right now. Storms do run out of rain. That is what therapists say, thank goodness. And for all of us who have ever faced a storm, like losing loved ones or, having to just start over. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit play while I was talking, but if you've ever faced a storm, eventually it does end and then things do get better. But it just seems like right now, Kenya's facing a lot. Bravo is being really tough on her, in my opinion. If it's true that her hair spa is closed, I know that I never really saw a lot of Atlanta celebrities posting about Kenya's hair spa. I never saw her with a lot of pictures of customers. It would just be the beautiful set or the spa itself, but I never really saw like a lot of business coming in or coming out, at least from her content on Instagram. So this conversation that she has with Kelly, and I shared it on my Instagram stories yesterday, so you definitely want to check it out. It was a very real moment, and Carlos actually speaks on such moments making it onto reality TV.
There's two things before we get into Kenya and Brit of it all. I want to get into Kenya's scene with Kelly.
I love it.
Listen, everyone knows I'm friends with Kenya, right? And so is Claudia as well. Kenya isn't the most, she doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve. And there's conversations Kenya has had with me personally that I do tell her sometimes, like, oh my God, you should like let the world know that, but it doesn't. Kenya's very, and listen, when we learned about her childhood and her mom, we all had a greater understanding of why Kenya is a hard, tough chick from Detroit, right? I was surprised Kenya mentioned on camera how much she gave to build this hair spa and her feeling concerned about the investment, because that's something that me and Kenya spoke about privately.
Mm-hmm.
And she cried to me privately. So I'm bringing this up because Kenya and Claudia have known Kenya for years. Kenya ain't no crier, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason why I like Kelly a lot too is because Kenya must have felt so comfortable around Kelly's authenticity and her natural way of talking about her experience with her husband that made Kenya relate to Mark. I was pleasantly surprised that Kenya allowed the world to see what I get to see behind closed doors, because anybody starting a business, it isn't easy. And when Kenya made the comment of, how do you get people to come in the door? Like, that's some real life shit that boss women on these shows don't talk about. And when I try to tell reality stars all the time and they don't listen, but whatever, some do, some don't, is it's okay to say I'm failing, because the audience wants to root for you. We got to get out of this mentality that everything's great. Everything's fine. We're missing moments where someone can say, I put in $400,000 and I'm not seeing a return on my investment. Facts.
Okay, so you heard Carlos King say it there. He was giving commentary on Kenya Moore's scene with Kelly, where Kenya is asking Kelly, who owns her own chicken and waffles restaurants and multiple locations. Kenya was asking her, how do you get people to come through the door? And in the scene, Kelly says, I'm actually a word of mouth type of chick. That's how I get people to come in. And, Kenya actually starts to cry. And she says, I have taken my daughter's future college money and I put it into this business. And, Kelly is saying it's going to work out. You're going to open up multiple locations. And Kenya's like, but I'm $400,000 in. And I feel like that is a very significant scene because on the one end, I agree with Carlos. Yeah, like let's show where it's not so glamorous side of being an entrepreneur because on Instagram, everything's glamorous on Instagram. Okay. I remember Shekinah Joe from Love and Hip Hop. Oh my gosh, I admit, I guess when I'm in a ratchet mood, honey, I will watch Shekinah Joe when she's live on IG. And I remember one day she was saying, don't get caught up in what you see on Instagram. Instagram is fake. And Shekinah was screaming it. But I will say, if it's not fake, you just see the glamorous side. Like all this coverage of the Broadway play Othello, starring Denzel Washington, produced by Candy and her husband Todd Tucker. And you see Candy in all these fashions and looking good in New York City. And all these celebrities came out for opening night. Angela Bassett, President Biden and his wife. So many people came out to see Othello. Super duper glamorous. But we don't know how much money Candy and Todd had to put up as the producers. And I imagine producers, AKA investors, you don't know what they had to do to book Denzel for the play and how much he's charging, and then the advertisements, and what it's going to take for them to start making some money back on their investment. We don't know what it was like for the writers to write for that play and the actors to memorize their lines and all the rehearsals and for everyone to gel. You don't see all of that on social media. You just see the glamorous side. So Carlos is right in the fact that on these reality TV shows, we do need to see more so of the entrepreneur really down, boots on the ground, putting in the work. Now we see it from the lovely Melody Cherie. Melody goes live while she's packing you and I's orders, okay? We saw her rebrand from Embrace to Seventh Avenue Beauty because she had to go through a divorce. We saw all of that when I interviewed her mom, Miss Van. Miss Van talked about, selling some land. She invests in the timberland and she sold some of it and gave some proceeds to Melody to start over after leaving Martell. And she said other family members, gave Melody love offerings as well as she started over. So we get those stories, we get that knowledge, we get those testimonies. But the rest of the cast from that show, LAMH, they would front. I would say, I remember when I would review episodes back when I would go live and review them. And I would say, the Scotts, why don't they talk about on the show their struggles, the lawsuits, and, the alleged not finishing the projects? Why don't they talk about that stuff to show, here's what we struggle with, here were our mistakes, and here's how we're trying to atone? But they'd rather just paint this picture. But it's so interesting that Carlos has the commentary of, show the real life shit about being an entrepreneur, for again another show. And then he gets really annoyed when people tell him, you have so much to say about other shows, but how about some applying this knowledge to your own? That kind of, I think that's like a pet peeve of his. But it is something valid to say and to consider. Like, why don't you try to ask your cast, be a little bit more vulnerable on camera, instead of it being like such a joke when the amazing bloggers do uncover the real life shit. It has to be uncovered on YouTube and the blogs, but then they'll just paint this picture on camera for the show that's completely opposite. Completely opposite. Like I thought it was insane for like Destiny to pretend like getting your storage unit to become like almost like a makeshift warehouse. Like, that was odd to me, and I know and I posed the question in my review, like, where you live, is that normal where storage units are turned into, like, boutiques? Because Destiny was saying some are boutiques, some are, like, little nail salons, not anything that I'm familiar with, and then some people in my comments did say, "Yeah, some people do that here," but like walk me through that, okay? Don't just like film the scene as if it's normal for everyone because everybody don't know we don't know anything about that. Like I typically go to a brick and mortar that has an address and I could Google it and there's going to be the picture of the building that's their location. Like I've never gone to a storage unit to get my nails done. So I feel like what he's saying is valid, but yes, apply it to your shows as well. So I definitely wanted to go over these two topics with you all. What do you think about Carlos saying, show the real life shit, the struggles in entrepreneurship? What do you think about him saying that and then how people kind of parade on shows like LAMH? I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope that you had a magnificent Monday. I did. I cannot complain. It's really cold today. It was like about 45 degrees. And yesterday it had gotten up to 69. And that's why I was wearing my coat yesterday, just like I was today, because the weather is that changeable 25-degree difference. And today I had to wear my hat. And also today, y'all, for the first time in 6 years, I ate a couple of bites of salmon while I was watching the Messy Monday show. So I haven't had meat in 6 years. I'm not adding back like chicken or anything, but I'm thinking about adding salmon just to have another source of protein. And I just think that, you know, I just want to like keep my immune system strong. I don't like the idea of inflammation in my body after I was like so sick in December and January. So I'm just being now I'm more open-minded to being pescatarian, having fish. So I'm just gonna like ease into it, see how my body reacts, and go from there. But I hope that you all had a great day. We are going to have a terrific Tuesday, and I will talk with you all soon. Bye.